Hey guys, welcome back to Noodle Week. So today I'm going to show you one that you know, I think actually quite well, and these are rice vermicelli noodles, those like really thin ones. And there's actually a couple of different ways of making rice noodles. There's some thin batter ones. This one's going to be a very thick batter. That rice ratio is going to be quite heavy, and so you're going to get a different, firmer mouthfeel for this. I ended up getting a press. I got one of these noodle presses. I'll put the link down below for them. They were just a couple of dollars. I'm interested to see how it works because this one seems to be one where it's not a press. You actually have to kind of wind it through. And so I'm wondering if that's going to kind of stunt the batter from coming out and whether it's gonna work or not. But hopefully by the time, if this is up already, it probably does work. So, and if it doesn't, I'm sure I have a second option for you guys. So I hope you all enjoy this recipe, and I will see you guys again soon.
So there's not too many ingredients to this recipe. Everything is going to be down below, but the main ones are going to be rice flour and then tapioca starch, which is the starch from cassava plants. So just make sure that you're getting the right ones, not glutinous rice, but we're talking white rice flour. And then with these starch-based noodles, it is very common to cook part of the batter first and then mix it with the rest of the batter. So that's what I'm doing here now. I'm taking a little bit of the white rice flour first and then mixing it with a little over half the amount of water that I'll be using today. And I'm just cooking it over medium to high heat up until everything starts to just congeal up and it gets actually nice and smooth after about a minute or so. So just at this point, turn it off. You're going to want to let it cool for about 5 minutes before adding it to the rest of the batter. So I find that the easiest way of getting a smooth batter is to mix that cooked rice batter with the water first. And then afterwards, I'm adding in my rice flour, my tapioca starch, and then also a bit of salt. I've seen some recipes add in xanthan gum as well, and I've tried that for myself too. And it does make, I think, the texture just a little bit more binded together. It might be a little bit better to press through the noodle press with, but you can do with or without. This time I'm doing it without. And I find that an electric mixer is actually best to get everything nice and smooth, because that's what you want, a very smooth batter for the noodle press. But you know, if you don't have one, feel free to just use a whisk. It will just take a bit more elbow grease. So I don't want to lead you guys on here, but I had a lot of trouble with this kind of corkscrew type style noodle press, and I think maybe I'll do a video on it in the future on how to kind of use it properly. But the biggest thing that I found here was what we were worried about with at the beginning. I was able to get some of the noodles out, but because I had to constantly turn it, it would make the noodles really short. Like the batter wasn't, I don't think it was best fit for this type of a corkscrew noodle press. So you guys can kind of see, like, you know, as I turned it, I couldn't do it smoothly so that it would have a continuous flow. So it would just stop and create these really short strands. One thing to note is that the water, I did bring it to a boil, but then I lowered it down a bit, because if the water is too high of a boil, it kind of breaks up the rice noodles. So you want to make sure that it's hot, but it's not at a very violent boil. So you can see here, the noodles actually, they tasted really nice. There was like a nice chew to them, but they were on the shorter side, and I didn't really love how that looked. So after I did this, a couple hours after I did this, I was like, okay, let's do it again. And this time I was just gonna use my trusty piping bag with a very kind of small nozzle. And the heat is about the same. I brought it up to a boil. It's not too crazy. And this time I was able to get very nice long strands, because I was able to just press it out in one continuous flow. But, you know, obviously it's not as fun. But I would recommend that if you wanted to use a noodle press, to maybe use the ones where you can just press it through instead of the winding ones. And I think somebody mentioned that you could use like a potato ricer as well, but I imagine the strands there are also a bit short. So after these get cooked, and they get cooked like immediately, I'd say 30 seconds to a minute, you just want to put them into cold water, and after that to just rinse it out with some new water, because everything gets very starchy and it can get cloudy and it might, you know, stick together. But essentially this is your rice noodle, and it looks amazing. I tried it out. It has some nice chew, it has some nice bite to it. I saw some people kind of divide it up into little sections. I imagine you can dry this probably in a dehydrator or something as well, or you can use it for hot pot, serve it with whatever broth that you want. Sometimes it's just really nice to just have something really clean and clear as well. Anyways, I hope you all have enjoyed this rice noodles recipe for Noodle Week. And I know I've been teasing you guys with this honeycomb noodle recipe that will be coming up very soon. So stay tuned for that. And as usual, if you want to see more recipes like this, hit that like and subscribe button. Visit the Patreon page. Support the channel through that if you can. And yeah, I will see you guys all again real soon. Bye.